The Oklahoma City Thunder, yes, the defending NBA champions, are certainly linked to a number of center trade targets. We'll talk a little bit about that. And the Cavs just made a money-saving move. And the Hawks, they pulled out a deal as well. And the Knicks, well, they have a problem. One big hurdle that could stop them from getting Giannis Antetokounmpo. We're going to talk about all that and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And I want to focus on this to start off the show. We heard on yesterday's episode that the Thunder are looking for a number of centers, right? That the Thunder are center shopping around the NBA. And more than likely, that means that Isaiah Hartenstein's contract is not going to be picked up in the offseason. But with that said, for the first time in 2 years, the Oklahoma City Thunder are reportedly very active leading into the trade deadline. Even with the NBA's best overall record, they're still looking at things ahead of time. This comes from Brian Windhorst of the Hoop Collective that said this. I've actually heard that the Oklahoma City Thunder is named in some trade chatter. And if you look at this team, you say, wait a minute, this team is, 66 wins or whatever they had last year. Champions, when they been healthy this year, they've been unstoppable. So I want to look at the number of center options that are reported that the Thunder are looking at, right? Number one is Kevin Love. Now, I look at Kevin Love and I say he shouldn't be an option for anyone, especially not the caliber of the Oklahoma City Thunder personally. But with that said, there is a rumored trade, and the Thunder are mainly looking at Ousmane Dieng's contract in regards to this, in which they send Dieng and a 2026 second-round pick in exchange for Kevin Love. The question then comes about, yeah, he's a good short-term option for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's a 17-year NBA veteran. He's still averaging 6 rebounds per game and remains a threat to shoot the three, which could help the Thunder, as we know that they have a problem sometimes shooting, and that's one of their biggest Achilles heels. Now, Kevin Love is only averaging 6.9 points on 39% shooting from the field, but almost 36% shooting from deep in only 17 minutes per game. So with the young talent that the Oklahoma City Thunder have, is Kevin Love a viable weapon there? Maybe. I don't think that that's where I would aim if I was the Oklahoma City Thunder, but hey, where do things have happened? The number two option that we're hearing is Robert Williams III, and we all know what this guy can do and how he can help teams still in the modern NBA, right? The question just becomes about how healthy he can be. In rumor with this trade, the Thunder would be sending out Kenrich Williams and Ousmane Dieng as well to get Robert Williams III in regards to that. Now, I want to be clear here. Kenrich Williams has become a favorite of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and in no way do I necessarily see them, shopping him. But hey, where do things have happened when it comes down to it? And we've seen players that have been moved before. So, and we'll see if that happens. But, Robert Williams III is definitely a player that can still help NBA teams, especially within the framework of how exactly you need him to perform for you. He's still a risky chance at it, right? He hasn't played in 35 or more regular season games since 2022 and 2023. So this would be a risky move for the Oklahoma City Thunder, but is it a calculated one? Again, they're still looking at potentially, Thomas Sorber and how he's ready to send, out for them and step up for them maybe in his second year. But we'll see what happens down with it. But you can consolidate 2 bench pieces. You can get Robert Williams III. Also, his contract's up at the end of the year. So adding some more rim protection to that team and averaging over 6 rebounds per night can still help this Thunder team. Next up, and probably one of my favorite options for the Thunder here, is Day'Ron Sharpe with the New York Knicks. Reportedly, they can get him for Dieng and a 2026 second-round pick. Now, Day'Ron Sharpe is a guy that he's a versatile center. You look at him, he has legit size at 265 pounds. He's a really good pick-and-roll defender on top of that. I think his passing has really become advanced as things go on, albeit be it a small sample size, right? But Sharpe is averaging career highs in just about every place, right? 8 points per game, 2.3 assists per game as well, 60% shooting from the field, 1.5 steals per game. Also, this is a guy that offers some nice versatility for you, and he doesn't take a lot offensively. He doesn't need a lot offensively for him to be a solid two-way weapon for you in regards to that. So this could be a young big man who's younger, who has 1 year left of team-controlled money, which could be a big part of this especially if the Thunder want to wait to see what Thomas Sorber is ready for in his first full season healthy, but another player that can help, that can play with Chet Holmgren in those minutes also for you. And Deron Sharpe is a guy that I would love to hear more trade buzz around this offseason. This trade season than we've heard. I think Deron Sharpe can help a lot of people. The last name on this list for the Oklahoma City Thunder is Kevon Looney. Same trade for Deron Sharpe. Dang, and a 2026 second-round pick to get Kevon Looney in here. Kevon Looney is a former two-time champion with the Warriors, of course. Now he did spend, the first part of his career with the Pelicans. So there you go with that one. And at the end of the day, Kevon Looney is a player that I still think can provide a defensive spark off the bench that can help the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? He does the dirty work. He's been on a championship team before. He's been with the Pelicans the last few years. That just does not pay off for him. And so you bring him into Thunder culture, another championship culture, and I think he can help. Right now, he's playing in a limited role, and I think you want to keep that role limited, averaging 14 minutes per game. He's averaging 5.1 rebounds. You look at the injuries that the Thunder have, Kevon Looney's rebounding and energy play that he has can have him fitting in a role on this Thunder team that I think that they need and can help them drastically. So he will join a title contending team since the first time since 2022, and we'll see how that reinvigorates him. But that's the center option that you're looking for. Of course, there's some other, but centers like Nick Claxton, Eve Missy is another guy that the Thunder maybe could pivot and try to focus on, and we'll see what happens with that one. But we did have a trade go down in the NBA, and that is the Cavs trading DeAndre Hunter to the Kings for Dennis Schroder. Keon Ellis is also coming to the Oklahoma City Thunder as well, and Dario Saric is going to the Chicago Bulls. Now, this is a move that you look at and you say, okay, the Cavs saved some money in this one. I love them getting Keon Ellis in this as well. I think Keon Ellis is a guy that could probably bring a lot of what they were hoping to get from Lonzo Ball that he just has not provided this year also. So now the Cavs are going to save nearly $50 million in terms of salary. They between salary and tax penalties as well. They also pick up some backcourt depth that makes sense with both Schroder and Ellis. And the Cavs guard rotation that's been hit with injuries with Darius Garland, Max Strus out. These guys can come in here and help this team, in what they're hoping is going to be a championship run season, right? Reportedly, the Kings are excited to add DeAndre Hunter to Keegan Murray and see what they're going to be able to do with the forward pairing with those two guys. Also open up some backcourt minutes for Nick Clifford as well. And so that's a good option. The Bulls, in this case, they actually use some of their cap space and their trade exception to gain 2 second-round picks in this case. This is a trade that just makes sense for every team involved. I think every team kind of gets what they need in a case like this, and you don't see a lot of trades that all end up working out for every team involved. They get that in this case. And, the Cavs are still, they still get the defensive ability. They still get some backcourt depth, which they've needed over the course of the season. And I think this all helps, each team involved. And now you just got to find your balance between this when it comes down to it. So, good moves all the way around. The Cavs are a very interesting team, very disappointing for their fan base, but it just shows what the expectations are. So, we'll see what that's going to be for this team. Next up, the Atlanta Hawks also make a trade. They trade Krejcik to the Blazers for Duop Reith and 2 second-round picks. This is a move where the Atlanta Hawks, they make kind of moving some assets around in regards to this move. They also get a second-round pick back in the deal, as well as a 2030 New York Knicks second-round pick as well in this one. So 2027 second-round pick, 2030 second-round pick. And so to get that, it is what it is. Krejcik's role with the Atlanta Hawks, the rotation changed after they got Corey Kispert in a deal where they also got C.J. McCollum for Trae Young. And that's just what it is. Krejcik is averaging 9 points per game this season, shooting 46% from the field and 42% on 5 3-point attempts per game. Reith is out for the season following a surgery to address a stress fracture in his foot. And he can also be waived to open up another roster spot for the Atlanta Hawks, which, we'll see what happens in that one. So this is another kind of moving things around when it comes down to it. And we'll see what the future does hold for this overall. The next topic that we do have, as well as Paul George, has gotten a 25-game suspension for violating the NBA's anti-drug policy. He did take responsibility for the suspension, saying this: "Over the past few years, I've discussed the importance of mental health, and in the course of recently seeking treatment for an issue of my own, I made the mistake of taking improper medication. I take full responsibility for my actions and apologize to the Sixers organization, my teammates, and Philly fans for my poor decision-making. I'm focused on using this time to make sure that my mind and body are in the best condition to help the team when I return." For what it's worth, listen, Paul George the 76ers have 35 games remaining in the season. Paul George could return with 10 games left with this season. And listen, Paul George has played 27 of the 47 games for the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 16 points, 5 rebounds, almost 4 assists, and 1.5 steals per game, playing 30 minutes for them over that game. He shot the ball 42% from the field and 38% from three. He's been surprisingly effective here for the 76ers. And so, getting him back to lead into that last run, and hopefully the playoffs could be big for them. It's unfortunate that Paul George, is going to miss this time, but that's where you got to focus in on what you're putting in your body. The NBA puts a high priority on that, and we'll see if Paul George is able to get back out there on the court, stay healthy, and then perform for this team in the playoffs. Last topic before we get out of here, the New York Knicks have been mentioned as a team that is interested in Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they've gotten back kind of on track with the win column here recently. And reportedly, they want to make that shot at Giannis if they actually do make him available at the trade deadline. Now, according to NBA insider James Edward III of The Athletic, New York would need to trade 2 or 3 players in the starting lineup, most likely OG, Mikal Bridges, and or Karl-Anthony Towns. The latter two, per multiple league sources, aren't believed to have the same value today as when the Knicks traded for them, so that could be a hurdle in of itself. It's unclear if the Knicks, James Dolan, are willing to give up their hopes of making the finals this season in order to acquire Antetokounmpo sooner rather than later. Bridge and Towns would both be somewhat disappointing season for the New York Knicks so far. So when you look at this, if that's the hurdle for the Knicks, I think that they'll clear. Like, I don't listen. The Knicks have been a team that has been very focused at going after a star for years. I don't know if they let that hurdle overcome them to stop them from going after Giannis Antetokounmpo. Of course, we got to see how it's going to play out. I just don't believe they'll do it, but we'll see. Let me know down below what you guys think on that one. If this trade deadline has taught us anything so far, is that no team is safe and no move is too big. Will OKC actually pull the trigger on a center? Did the Cavs finesse the tax season? And how does Paul George suspension affect the 76ers in their Eastern Conference playoff race? Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Make sure you're following us at NBA Central Pod. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything basketball related, and I'll catch you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.